Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Captain's Quarters Show. I am your host, El Milliner, the Captain. Thank you all for riding with me for another video. Now, this video is about the Dollar General shooting there in Jacksonville, Florida, where I think it's been confirmed now that 4 individuals died from being shot at the Dollar General by a mass shooter, Christopher Palmetter, and they're calling this a racially motivated shooting. I wanted to talk about it for a little bit because anytime these situations happen, they receive a lot of attention from the media, um, not only locally where they happen, but nationally. And it's always these situations where there's a racial dynamic where the aggressor is white and the victims are black. So they always tend to get the most attention when it comes to shootings, right? Because every day in America, shootings happen, right? White on white, Asian on Asian, Hispanic on Hispanic, black on black, etc. But those don't really get the same coverage. And in this situation, I wanted to point out a few things that I did watch the sheriff there in Jacksonville do a press conference. He talked about the specifics, and there were some things that he mentioned that I don't think a lot of people even know about, right? And one of those things is they want to say it's racially motivated, but in 2017, so the individual, Christopher Palmetter, is 21 years old. Well, he was 21 until he unalived himself in the Dollar General office before the police got in. He was 21 years old. So back in 2017, that would have put him at as a teenager, right? So in his late teens. And at that time, he got Baker acted. So there's an act called Baker Act where they can hold you involuntarily for a certain amount of time for like basically a psych evaluation to make sure your mental health is where it needs to be. And so he was held for 72 hours in a facility and then released. So this guy has a history of mental health issues, and then add to that, he lives with, well, at the time of his death at age 21, he was still living with his parents. So this is not a guy who was well. He was a guy who had mental health problems, and a lot of times that is a result of you got an evil heart within you, right? So he's troubled, and so from that, being troubled from whatever the case is that got him to that point, he exit out in these ways where now we look at it and say, well, he's got mental health issues. So, they want to point and say, hey, it was a racial attack, but even in the press conference, the sheriff, who was a black man, TK Waters, he said that there were individuals that were allowed to leave the premises of the store. He said, yeah, some of them were white, but there were a couple that they weren't white. So he didn't go in just wanted to apparently shoot as many black people as he could because he let at least some leave. So it's a terrible thing to have happen. Very terrible. I want to talk about also the weapons that were used. Every time there's a mass shooting, right, of this caliber, of this type, where it seems more random, they always go to the weapon. It's an assault rifle. There are no such things as assault rifles. Okay, there are AR-15s, which are Armalite rifles. It's just a type of rifle that you use. It's still a semi-automatic. That means you pull the trigger one time, one bullet comes out. So he didn't have like a switch on it They, nothing like that. It was just a rifle. Pull trigger one time, one bullet comes out. Right? That's typical rifle. He could go hunting with that rifle. So he also had a Glock handgun. So it's, they always want to talk about the gun, especially when it comes to the AR, right? The AR-15. But most shootings in America happen with handguns, right? This is just stats. The stats show that. So don't let the media fool you with these words that they use, where they're talking about the guns and talking about the assault rifle and talking about all racial motivated and all that. Like there are, I saw a stat that there had been like 500, 600 mass shootings across the nation this year, and how many of those have you seen on TV? Like how many have you seen on TV? You've only seen a select few of them, right? They've only talked about a select few ones where they can point and say, "Oh, it's a white guy that hates black people," and they'll show you those. All 4 or 5 of those, yeah, they'll show you those. But what about the other 3, 4, 500? Who's doing those? Right. So there was the Asian guy in California that shot up a church. Right. Asian guy shot up an Asian church. Like that made the news for like a day or two, but I mean, there's still only one incident, right? Where it's Asian led. There have been shootings in Houston. There was a shooting where with a Hispanic guy, Hispanic neighbors, okay, where the guy was outside shooting his rifle. The neighbors came over and said, "Hey, can you please stop shooting the rifle?" And then he decided to go shoot up the house and kill several people. So, that happened. Like, but where are these majority of these shootings? That's still only a handful. Where are the other, 400 or 500 shootings? Well, they're happening in urban America all the time. Right? All the time there's shootings. A mass shooting is nothing more than a shooting where 3 or more individuals are at least injured. They don't have to pass away. They just have to be injured. Okay, so 3 or more. So a bulk of those hundreds and hundreds of mass shootings that happen in urban America through drive-bys, drug deals, where there's some kind of situation happens and then a shooting happens and then multiple people get hit. Domestic issues where a boyfriend girlfriend situation, a husband wife situation, and there's multiple people in the home, and multiple people get shot. That's the bulk of these mass shootings. It's not guys walking in Dollar General, walking into your local mall, walking into the library, the movie theater. Like those are not the bulk of these shootings. Even the school shootings, yeah, they seem to happen a lot more. They seem to be very common, but when you really look at how many schools we have across America, they're really not quite that common where it's just random attacks, right? Like the one in Nashville where the individual that was pretending and presenting herself to be a male when she's really a female. When she did what she did at that Nashville Christian school, that's not a very typical mass shooting. It just is what it is, right? These are just some things that I wanted to share with people because they get it. They see these images on the news. They see it just put in their face, and they're like, "Oh, that must be the norm." Or it seems like the norm because they only highlight those shootings, right? But there's, like I said, hundreds that happen in the urban America all the time, every day that you never hear about, right? Unless you're in that city, unless you're in Cleveland or Atlanta or whatever city, Memphis, Chicago, wherever you are, you'll know about it, but the rest of America is not going to really hear about that unless it's just a crazy 30 people that got, shot at one time. But if there's 3, 4, 5 people that got shot, and especially nobody died, you're not going to hear about that. But that still was a mass shooting. So, so that's that, right? But taking it back to the Dollar General issue, this situation, I don't view this thing as a thing where it happened because of a racial, like this guy is like, as a child, you're not born to be so-called racist, right? So as you grow up, you experience different things and certain traumatic things happen, and you end up building this hate within you, right? So it's like you become what you hate. So if somebody mistreated you, whatever color, whatever male, female, doesn't matter. When they do something to you, that builds up that hate, and so you become that hate, and then you act it out on other people who you don't even know. They never did anything to you, never met them before, right? And the same people that do these shootings based on so-called racial hate, they're not the best people to their own family members, their own friends, right? So the people that look like them, that you would say, oh, they must, love those people. They just hate other people that look different. No, those people are terrible people to even their friends and family. This is something that not many people are really talking about, right? It's like the KKK people. They hate so-called black people and other people that they hate, but yet people don't think that, oh, when they go home, they're probably disrespecting, abusing their wife, their kids, and everything. But yet on to the world sees them as, oh, they're a racist. What do you call it when they go home and they disrespect and abuse their own family? Because that's what they're doing. Those people are no good across the board. You just don't see what happens behind closed doors. You just see what they do in the world. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. I do have some of the sheriff's conference discussing this whole shooting in Dollar General. And allow me to play this for a bit. So this is a piece of video showing you some of the event. You kind of see how you see his get up. He's got a vest on. Like he's wearing a hat. He has his rifle. He's got blue gloves on. Looks like, just a disturbed person. A disturbed, hate-filled person. That's what this was, right? And he was too cowardly to face the music to the police and go to jail. He decided to, take himself out before police could arrest him. So, I mean, he took the coward's way out.
Again, the video is rather short because I don't think some of the things that are on there are appropriate for television. It's not meant to entertain or be insensitive to our victims and our victims' families. So I wanted the people to be able to see exactly what happened in this situation and just how sickening it is. I'll answer any questions if I can. Yes, sir.
So I think the question is there any knowledge of him working at the store prior to this?
I have no information that he worked at that store.
Sheriff, we're hearing reports from witnesses that the gunman let two white women out of the store without harming them before he opened fire. Have you been able to confirm anything like that?
He let, from what I'm understanding from our.
So now he's going to talk about the whole racial element of who was allowed to leave the store, or if anyone was allowed to leave or not.
Lieutenant here, he let several people out of the store. Why, I don't know. Some of them were white, but I do believe there was a couple that were not.
Right. So I will link this down in the description so you all can watch it. It's about 17 minutes. And man, just and my prayers go out to the people who are affected by this. All those families of the deceased. those are going to be the people who have to keep moving forward, right, and deal with that pain and that loss. So, praise for them. And, just don't allow the media to corrupt you all, with the propaganda of the race and the guns being used. And they want to use this as a tool to get other things accomplished, right? They don't really, they ain't really worried about this situation. Like I said, they really care about the situation. They would not only just cover this story, they would cover the hundreds of other stories that happen where little children are gunned down over absolutely nothing. So they don't really, they want to use certain instances of violence to, propagate the idea of we need to have better legislation for gun control, and we need to have these hate crime bills and all this type of stuff, man. Look, anytime somebody can go and kill someone in cold blood, that's a hate crime. Don't matter what color they are, anything, skin color, nothing. They can be the same skin color, different skin color, be from the same country, different country. It's the same hate. And I'll leave it there. Thank y'all for watching. That's my 2 cents on it. Thank y'all for riding with the captain. Hit that like, comment, share the video, and hit that subscribe. Until next time, this was the Captain's Quarters Show. I was your host, Il Milliner, the captain. I'm gone.